Please listen carefully.
Today's headlines start with a crazy story out of California where people woke up to an orange hazy sky, which looked more like Venus or Mars than the Bay. It was dark orange for miles around, and photos showed it was still dark from as late as 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. If there weren't hundreds of photos circulating around the internet, I'd call this whole story fake news, because the orange color looks photoshopped. The orange landscape is so overwhelming that some people's phones were color correcting their photos because the orange saturation was too intense. Now, people on the West Coast are a little spoiled when it comes to weather and enjoy the sun year-round, while here in the Midwest, during fall and winter, it's not uncommon to wake up in complete darkness and to drive home in darkness at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. But this was surreal. The cause of the orange smog? Wildfires. Large portions of the state are still burning, and the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection estimates that more than 2 million acres have burned during the 2020 season. And now the Bay Area is encased in orange fog, and the skies are raining ash. People are encouraged to stay indoors until the air quality improves. With the presidential election in November racing towards us, Donald Trump's campaign has repeatedly been eclipsed by scandals and fake outrage. This next story has a bit of both. This week, veteran journalist Bob Woodward of the Washington Post shared some information from his new book, Rage. Woodward releases conversations he had with Trump that allege he knew the dangers of COVID-19 sometime in February, which was before the world went into quarantine in March. Passages from the book name some prominent Republicans and members of Trump's administration as sources for information on the COVID discussion, as well as his other political failings. But the most damning evidence is the recordings from Woodward's interview with Trump. In his own words, Trump implicates himself on a number of issues. It's up to each person to determine their belief in things like this. I personally am always incredibly skeptical whenever information like this comes out and someone is releasing a book, but Bob Woodward has a long career as a respectable journalist and already exposed one president's dirty laundry with Nixon and the Watergate investigation. But here's what I will say about all this. I cannot wait for the day when Trump leaves the public spotlight, so we don't have to listen to the avalanche of people who come out and dogpile on him and other public figures every single time they get even a little bit upset about something. Trump or the elected Republicans did. The COVID allegations are serious, and while the US is seeing a decline in cases after a disastrous summer, we are approaching 190,000 COVID-related deaths. Trump will have a lot to answer for in the coming days, but people's hatred of Donald Trump turns every story, big and small, into World War III. Every time he does something stupid, Twitter is full of worthless topics, and it's all the internet wants to talk about until the next big story. Hashtag Trump knew. Hashtag Trump lied. Hashtag resign now. Hashtag impeach him again, and on and on and on. Look, for anyone out there who's not a fan of Donald Trump, or any politician for that matter, all the name calling and the virtue signaling and the social media circle jerking is a tremendous waste of your time. If you really want to hit someone where it hurts, hit them on policy. So for starters, make sure you vote. Get registered as early as possible and send out your votes ASAP before they defund the post office again. The links on the screen are for registering. One will take you to the national website, the other is for folks specifically in Wisconsin. And in addition to voting, tweet, email, protest, and call public figures with issues you care about. If nothing else, they're all on social media. Go holler at them to fix your state or your city. General tweets and Facebook posts thrown onto a bonfire of public opinion are farts in the wind and nothing more. Remember, before COVID hit, Trump wriggled his way out of an actual impeachment proceeding, which of course happened because the Democrats picked the stupidest topics to impeach him on and really only did it to help protect Joe Biden. But what good is it to have 7 different hashtags trending for 12 hours calling for his impeachment again? Literally nothing will come from that, except for that little hit of dopamine you feel. That chemical which is released in the brain when you do something that makes you feel good, like you're part of the hashtag resistance. Look, at the end of the day, your question should never be, how stupid is Donald Trump? How corrupt is Donald Trump? How grotesque is Donald Trump? He's all those things and more. What you should be asking is, how are the Democrats not beating this guy? So what you should do is blow up the inboxes for people like Nancy Pelosi, like Chuck Schumer, like Tom Perez, and remind them what it is the American people need. Because all the noise that happens in American media just provides cover for people like them to never actually pass legislation that helps regular people, because everybody's too busy crying over Trump and those mean Republicans. If you care that much, do something that matters. Just don't yell into an echo chamber with a few thousand other people and expect anything to change. Just a quick reminder, if you're enjoying the video, remember to comment, like, and subscribe, or throw us a follow on Twitter after the video. In potentially good news, reports indicate that Congress is preparing to vote on the Marijuana Opportunity Reinvestment and Expungement Act sometime in September. The focus of the MORE Act is to simply bring marijuana closer to full legalization and to help clear the records of people who have been convicted of non-violent drug offenses. This bill is massive. Some of the things included in it are making loans and services available to cannabis-related businesses, prohibiting the denial of federal benefits to a person based on cannabis-related convictions, and to establish a process of expunging records for people who are convicted or being sentenced to federal cannabis offenses. There is a link to the bill itself in the description. It's way too big to pick apart in a video this short, but what I will say is that anything which moves us as a country closer to legalization and decriminalization of marijuana is a great thing. Regardless of how you feel about it personally, the war on drugs in America has been a massive failure. It costs taxpayers boatloads of money every year, and it has disproportionately affected people of color, especially when it comes to weed. Whether you're looking to reduce government waste or to pursue justice for people who've been wronged by our judicial system, taking these kinds of steps forward is the only way to go. That being said, I am extremely skeptical that this bill makes it through both chambers. It might pass through the House, but the Senate famously does nothing that doesn't make Mitch McConnell happy, and many members of the House and Senate also take money from insurance companies and big pharma, and nobody in those fields wants a bill like this to pass, because then the pills they manufacture, which kill thousands of people every year, would have to compete with marijuana in the open market. Also, Joe Biden's official stance on his presidential platform is that he wants to, quote, decriminalize cannabis at the federal level and also make it a priority to expunge the records of people who have committed cannabis-related offenses and move marijuana from the federal Schedule 1 to Schedule 2. But he also has a weird Republican line in there about leaving decisions for recreational use, quote, to the states. So with Joe, you might get decriminalization if he keeps his promise, but you won't get full legalization. Baby steps, I guess. That's it for today. Remember, if you enjoyed the video or learned something, to comment, like, and subscribe. Every little bit helps us get found in the algorithm. Follow us on Twitter, support us on Patreon, and head over to yourforwardnews.com for more in-depth stories. Links for everything can be found in the description below. Stay safe, stay informed.